Welcome back to the Rock Island Line, a podcast dedicated to the city of Rock Island, Illinois. I'm your host, Annika O'Melia, and today I'm speaking to Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius grew up in Rock Island, in the Arsenal Courts, now known as Century Woods, and he's the current owner of the Green Store, a corner convenience store located just across the street from Century Woods. I met Demetrius at a tenant association meeting at Century Woods, and later learned about his involvement in the community and his desire to tell the stories of the folks who live at Century Woods. Demetrius and I talk all about his experience growing up in Rock Island, his transformation into adulthood, aided by his supportive partner and his role as a father, and the process of becoming the grown-up in his community that little him would have looked up to and respected. We talk about what gives life shape and meaning, and how to build a community based in love, mutual respect, and good energy. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I think you will too. So without further ado, here's Demetrius Johnson. I'm here today with Demetrius Johnson, and Demetrius grew up in Rock Island, and I invited you on the podcast really because I've been doing some work at Century Woods, and so met you in a meeting, and also have heard people talk about the Green Store. And as I've been in the area, I've driven by it, and
you got to come in.
I do need to come in.
You got to come in.
I saw your video yesterday, and a guy named James, who I've gotten to know a little bit, was in there.
Okay.
Or maybe that was 2 days ago. But yeah, so welcome to the Rock Island Line.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come and chat with me.
No problem.
And I begin every episode just kind of exploring with people, where does your Rock Island story begin?
Yeah. Mom brought me home to the Arsenal Courts. I grew up here. I went to Grant School, went to Edison, graduated from Rocky. We're 89 Rock Island track and field champions. I'm part of that team.
Nice.
Yeah, we still got a record at Rocky. Me and Tim Newsom, George Guy, and Tim Smith. Rock Island's different.
So what year did you graduate
from high school? I graduated
in
90.
In 90, okay.
Long time ago. We got our 35th reunion this year.
Oh, okay. So I was 99. Okay. So you're about 9 years ahead of me at Rocky.
Okay. But yeah, Rock Island's a different place. Growing up in Rock Island, as a kid, we were really kids. It's different now. We played outside, tackled a man, got dirty, made slingshots, and the Arsenal Courts was a big family. I ended up moving out of the courts probably when I was about 5 or 6, and I moved 2 blocks away. So it was just easy to go back and hang out with my old friends. So we all started hanging out and going to the Green Store and buying candy and stuff. And there's an old guy named Cleo used to work there, big Italian looking guy, man, hairy arms and all that. And we were all little kids. He was huge then. And I hear stories about Cleo, how he used to help people out back in the days because you needed, it's a low income area. So he helped people out. And then after that, my Uncle Melvin bought it. And then his brother bought it off of him. And then I ended up, getting it. But Rock Island is
Was Cleo the first person to?
You know what? I heard somebody had it before him. As a matter of fact, I had a guy came in about a week or so ago and said he used to work there. He used to work for Cleo and his wife. But I put a video out, and I got so much feedback, and I had somebody said they knew the previous owner before Cleo. And I was like, wow. So it's been around for 50 plus years.
Wow.
I know.
Is it called the Green Store because the building is green?
We called it the Green Store. I just officially named it the Green Store when I bought it.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was called Ghetto Lanes. And then I want to say it was Quick's Corner. And then it was like the Bomb Convenience Store. But nobody called it by its name. It's always been the Green Store. So I officially named it the Green Store.
Oh, funny. So it had all these different names, but unofficially everybody referred to it as the Green Store?
They referred to it by its nickname. That's the nickname, the Green Store.
Is it because the siding is green?
Because it's a green house on the corner.
Yeah.
It's green. So when I get it refurbished, and I'm going to make sure I keep it green.
Yeah, I like that. It does stand out. I mean, it's a pretty color, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it went through these different owners, and when did you buy it?
About a year ago, I think in June.
Okay.
Of last year. And I think I fully took over in November. and getting a chance to know the people. The people are good people down there,
So maybe we'll come back to that,
Go ahead.
but going back to childhood, you said then it was called Arsenal Courts.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably, let's see, I was born in 80, so you were probably born in like 70 or something.
72.
72.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 70s, I think the city of Rock Island still owned the buildings, maybe.
My understanding that it was an apartment complex for the people that worked on the Arsenal way back in the day.
Yep.
And I don't know who owned it back then. I have no idea. But it was a great childhood. It was. It was a great childhood. I can't see how these kids do it today. But back then we played, and it's different. We played. We caught snakes. We did everything that a child could do back in the days. And when the street lights came home, we came home and we had to be in the house. But yeah, we had.
So at that time there would have been more like 350 units because they condensed it in the.
I think it's like 240 or something like that now. Yeah.
Yep, but it used to be bigger. It was there were more buildings in between the green space, and so you remember just being able to go outside and play.
We'd play football. We'd get out there and they have a grass patch. We'd play tackle the man. I had cousins down there. See, I'm go back a little far. Back in my child, my grandmother had 11 kids. So out of her 11 kids, each one of them at least had 4. Mm-hmm. So I had the biggest family in Rock Island. It was the Johnsons, the Gays, the VCs, and then when we were really big family. So when we went down there, when we hung out, it was a bunch of us anyway. And then everybody, it's
those
hard.
Are some Rock Island powerhouse names right there.
Families, yeah, big families in Rock Island. So yeah, we had a bunch of us. So when we didn't have friends, we had family. So yeah, and we were all a lot of us were living in Arsenal Courts at that time.
Yeah, so you got to go outside, run around, and the whole community kept an eye on you or watched you?
Well, yeah, it was a family. It was a village down there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was Rock Island period, not just the courts. Neighborhood, my grandmother lived on 14th and a half Street and around it. Everybody looked out for each other. So yeah, it was Rock Island was a nice place to grow up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who is your grandma?
My grandma's name was Callie Silas.
Okay.
My grandfather was Melvin Silas, and my other grandfather was Fred Johnson. And my grandmother probably was first. Her family on 14th and a half, when they moved on 14th and a half, was the first black family on 14th and a half Street.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. She has a name a lot bigger than mine. Her name is stronger than mine. She was something special back in the day.
Do you know what brought your family to Rock Island? Do you know your ancestry history?
My grandmother's from Arkansas and my grandfather's from Louisville, Mississippi.
So they came from the South. Do you know around when?
Don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have no idea how old they were when they came here. I know my grandfather was, one of my grandfathers was in his early 20s when he got down here. So, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Did they teach you about their history and?
No, my grandma was a classy woman. So it was she just led by example. Yeah. You seen somebody that was hustling and making things happen when all her kids, the house was nice. She kept it clean. She had a white living room, white furniture, white carpet, all that stuff. It was beautiful. She had a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, she showed us a lot of class. My grandfather was a hard worker. Both of my grandfathers were hard workers. And with a big family, you get the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I got a chance to see it all.
Were you close to Anthony Gay at all?
I knew him.
Okay.
I wasn't close with him, but I did know him. And once he got out, we had a conversation, yeah.
Yeah, I helped him start a nonprofit a few years ago before he passed away because he was out for a brief time and then went back to jail. And we kind of had a friendship and, would write letters and stuff when he was incarcerated. But he was really trying to start nonprofit, helping people understand their rights when interacting with like law enforcement and very interesting guy. He was a very interesting guy. But big family, lots of relatives, a whole community.
I have 3 nieces that are gays. My brother has a daughter with Keena Gay. Three daughters, I'm sorry, with Kina Gay. So yeah, all our families are kind of entwined.
Yeah.
In Rock Island.
Yeah, and just giant names in Rock Island. I mean, kind of synonymous with Rock Island. So Nikki Gay and I played basketball together, and I love Nikki dearly.
You play basketball for Rocky?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. we had like the best record until maybe a few years ago. Somebody tied with us.
So you like me? You had these old records at the school. You're trying to keep. Mine is 35 years. I'm trying to hold on to it.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. So childhood was good.
Great.
A great childhood.
I mean, dealing with the people and all that. I mean, we had our ups and downs, but to be honest, I wouldn't have traded for the world. It helped me grow, helped me learn. It taught me how to, it was normal. When it comes down to hanging out with your friends and stuff, there was some crazy stuff. Teenage years were rocky, all right? But we're talking about, from 5 to about 9, 10 years old. It was fun. It was really fun.
So from childhood until you get to be, what happens to boys and young men as they start to get into like junior high, high school, start thinking about their identity and their self-worth and self-esteem? You're not a kid anymore. What was it like to be a young man in Rock Island?
Pressure. The world started changing. Drugs came into the scene. The have-nots won it, and the elders started losing control. And that's what that's what happened to the world, in the 90s. We got music, we got pressure, and that changed a lot in everybody's lives. So you get to the point, you embrace it or you fight it, and I think those that embrace it took the wrong path. And but you had to go through it. You had to go through it. I mean, I didn't come from, having a big family, and I've seen what a lot of this stuff did to people, and I've seen people at their lowest points. And I've seen people feeling good about things that now you look at it in hindsight that you shouldn't feel good about. A way of living.
What do you mean? Can you say more about that?
Well, we all had our time. When we all made decisions that we regret, and just doing things that and just like now, when you make a decision, you do things that you got, it's like the cartoons. You got the devil and the angel on your shoulder, and we always have that, and it's our conscience, or it's that little voice inside your head, like I shouldn't eat that. And back in the day when you were a kid, you still hear those same voices. And when you make a decision, you got to live with it. So yeah, we're not proud. People are not proud of the road we chose to go down, especially in Rock Island in the 90s. But you live and you learn. I became a father, and that changed it a lot. So
I'm going to try to reflect back what you're saying with my own little spin on it. So you tell me if I'm on track or off track.
I will.
In childhood, when you're little, you're just existing. You get to be, you're not really aware of the bigger, you're kind of in a little fishbowl.
Right.
And it's your normal. And there's love and joy and goodness. And you're running around with your friends and you're looking up to your grandparents. But something happens. There's an age where people become more aware of maybe larger systems through music, television, even just going to junior high or high school and seeing that, the world is bigger than my neighborhood. And now that I'm in that bigger world, this is me making this up. But what I've noticed living in Rock Island is something might get reflected back to you that now all of a sudden, all that goodness isn't feeling good enough anymore.
Well, people, you understand, you see things. When we moved from a couple blocks from the course to 9th and a half Street in Rock Island, where my mother lives now. And when you get up older, you start to see things. If it's not your problems, you see other people's problems. You see things. It's just not entertainment anymore. Things become real. And I think that when you are a young adult, when you start, and they see it more now because it's more accessible. The things that we see now we couldn't see on TV when we were kids. They just put it all out there now, and they want you to fight against the system, or fight against social media or whatever. I got a son right now. I just took everything away because my parents had to fight against the elements, meaning my peers, music, girls, or whatever, drugs or whatever we had to go. Those are the elements to me. And they had to fight to try to keep control of me, and it was hard.
Yeah.
And they didn't win. I had to go ahead and just go bump my head and learn. They didn't win, and I'm going through the same thing with my kids now. And having this 13-year-old child right now and thinking about me, and we're talking about when things start to change, you're like, what happens with a teenager at one point? I see it happening with him.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 times worse than what it was with me.
Yeah.
And it's 10 times better also when it was with me. Why? Because he has to fight with the elements, just like I did. But he has a me, and I didn't have a me. So he has somebody that understands. He has somebody that's going to fight it right along with him. And then I will have to show him that tough love, and I'll let him know the things that you think are important aren't important. So when I take that away, now it's going to be that conversation with your mom and dad. It's important because you don't have a phone anymore.
Yeah.
But you want to communicate. You want to talk. So now you got to talk to the people that are making you. I got to understand who you are. So back then, we didn't have parents that took out that time. Didn't understand because they had to go through their own thing. The world was changing. And we just didn't have those mentors. So I didn't have it.
Parents were just different then. Like, now I feel like we do talk to our kids more. I feel like parents then didn't really play with us or talk to you about your feelings and stuff the way that maybe we do as parents this generation.
I know, right?
You kind of were left to your own devices a little bit.
Yeah, you had to learn things on your own. And then you just had to, because I told you so back then. Why? Because I told you. We didn't get an explanation. I always asked questions. So that was one of my problems, why I bumped heads with my parents a lot.
I mean, I think because I have she's 12 and a 14-year-old, and they're girls, which is different.
It's different.
Boys have a lot harder time in today's world than girls in some ways.
Some ways.
I mean, girls are more mature
than boys. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think school is harder for boys because they want to move and bump into things, and it's harder for them stereotyping, but to sit still and
right. You're right.
They want to, even my son, when he was little, he would just run his body into the couch over and over again just to feel him hit something,
Right.
so different.
Pretty clumsy. He just fell into the couch, but I understand what you're saying.
But there's something that happens at that age where, kids becoming young adults, they start to look around them, compare with their peers, and start to think about what is going to give me some power or identity or worth in the system that I'm in. And what are my options to get that? Is it through, for young women, like the role of social media with body? Is it through the way my body looks? Is it going to be through my grades? Is it going to be through a reputation on the street? It's like all these kids are going through the same thing, but the neighborhood you grow up in, the thing you're aspiring to could be different. So if you think about when we were that age, what do you think you were aspiring to when you started to have this awareness of like, where do I sit in the big picture? Who am I? What do I need in order to be good and powerful and have status? And because we're all doing that.
See, back to the good thing is what we had, and I always tell my wife, my biggest role model was Cliff Huxtable. I watched the Cosby Show every Thursday night. So that life is what I wanted. I dreamed for that. Like, even though I took the path that I took, I ended up getting what I wanted. I had an economics class at Rocky, and I wrote down my wife, 5 kids, nice life,
Wow.
and all that. And I got that. And I thought about it when I, not too long ago, a few years back, I thought about it. I'm like, whoa, I wrote that down. So at that time in my life, I knew what I wanted. And like I said, there was things in my way. I went to college. Didn't do the best in college. Went to college for a year or so, and I didn't get anything out of it. I wasn't focused. I didn't have that anybody pushing me. If Bill Cosby really was my dad, it'd probably be different. But then again, if you watch the Cosby Show, these kids went their own direction too. There was kids that dropped out of college. There was kids that that got married and had to move back home and so on and so forth. So life is different. You can want it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people start off really wanting the best.
Yeah.
And then find out that you really have to be dedicated and have to work for it to get it.
Yeah.
And the work ethic comes into play then. And if you don't have the work ethic or the dedication, it won't happen.
What was attractive about the Cosby, the set? Was it the
I watch it now.
security? Was it the love? Was it the intact family?
It's how life should have been. It's how life, it's the life that I thought everybody should have the opportunity to have. How the parents dealt with the kids and how the husband and wife had a great relationship. Mm-hmm. How the friends came through and everybody interacted. You didn't just bring the kid over to the house. They had to come through. Dad sitting on the couch. You had to meet dad, so on and so forth. And this is how I raised my kids. Mm. Every child I had, now I have 5, and I got the one at home, the 13-year-old, and the other one. Every child left my house went to college. Did every kid finish? No. I'm 2 for 2. My boy, but I got good kids.
Yeah.
And that's because what we put into them, they're going to give back. And so, my outlook in life was to be similar to who I am now. But now that I am who I am now, we still set goals. We still write down. I write down a lot more now because I was like, well, I need to keep doing that. It worked once. It can continue to work.
That's worked for me too, just having a notebook where you start to think about what do I want things to look like a year from now or 5 years from now. I do think that is like manifesting.
It is.
I think that actually probably.
It works.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, it works for me. I'm going to tell you it works.
Yeah.
I do it. I'm on a 5-year plan now. So and I'm going through it. And a lot of things, a lot of doors open up. I think being authentic, being yourself, really dedicating yourself, just putting yourself, and it's not a dedication to a craft. It's dedicating yourself to be a better person. And that does wonders. Because, people get up and go to the gym or they do this and they work hard at the job. But if you work, you really internalize it and say, you know what, I'm just going to be the best person I can be. Everything else falls into place because you're going to do what you're supposed to do because that's what good people do.
What does it mean for you to be a good person? If you had to think of some characteristics of if you're working on.
You got to be honest. You have to be honest, and you got to be honest with yourself. You got to embrace your shortcomings. I lost my hair when I was 19 years old. My life changed, right? But I still was who I was. So that let me know that you can't be vain. You can't worry about what other people see. You got to be confident in yourself, confident in your words, and show people by example. I don't want anybody to continue to tell me what to do, and then I see you not doing it. How can you tell me how to pay mortgage and you never bought a house? So that's one of the reasons why I changed my life. I had daughters, and I wanted my daughters, as a daughter, that your dad is the first real man, the first, that's your first superhero. That's your guy. That's your dad. And you're going to love your daddy anyway because that's your dad. So I wanted to make sure my girls fell in love with a good guy. Mm-hmm. So when they went out on their own, they would kind of get a guy that's close to, with a personality close to their dad's. Somebody with some sort of values, and the only way I can tell them to do it. I mean, my daughter she would call me, and she was, Daddy, he this and he's doing that and he's doing this and he's got me, man. I'm like, yeah. How old is he, babe? She said, oh, he's 26 years old, Daddy. I said, yeah, he's a lot better than your daddy at 26. I ain't turned out too bad, did I? She's like, no, Daddy. I said, give him a chance. Because you want your daughters to pick somebody that you approve of, but you gotta show them the kind of person that you want. So yeah, just being a good guy, it pays you back. And it pays me back with the choices of my kids, the choices of my wife, my mother, the way my mother looks at me, how she feels when she sees me. All that means something to me. Yeah.
So it sounds like you really focused on being present with your kids, talking to them, having conversations.
I've changed a lot.
Okay, so what you said that, like, when did your life kind of turn around? You said you...
I had elderly people like me, so I would go visit. There was, I called her Grandma Chris. Her name was Chris Pearson, J.C. Pearson, old lady. When I was a baby, and I kept her all the way to high school. Her name was Miss Davis. I mean, I got these people, these elderly people that believed in me. So I've always had that soft heart, and I feel a certain way towards me. And there's a handful more. I can't name everybody. I had teachers, coaches. I had people that, when I think my family thought that I was really going down the wrong path and wasn't going to make it, I had other people jump in and say, "Oh, you're going to be okay." So.
Was it mostly, when you say the wrong path, was it mostly like drugs? Are you talking about the wrong path in terms of addiction?
No, no. The wrong path is maybe all of the above.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can say that, all of the above, because when you are growing up in an urban area, and you try everything. Mm-hmm. You try everything. A lot of guys do, and that's the weak. That's the weak ones, and that's me. I was one of the weak ones. You try everything. You hustle. You might see what this high feel like, or you try everything. This is real life. This is not somebody that you don't go through life without bumping your head. So when you're going down the wrong path, you never know, and that's a parent's biggest fear.
Yeah. Say
you try it and you like it too much. Now you're addicted to whatever it is. You're addicted to hustling. You're addicted to drugs. You're addicted to sex. You're addicted to food. Anything that you get addicted to, you overdo, it's going to become a vice, and it's going to make your life harder. And that's, as a parent and as one of the elders, you look at the kids and you just don't want that kind of life for them. So once they start seeing that, they got scared, even before it happened. Mm. My stepfather, Lloyd Quick, I've never seen him cry but one time. And when I dropped out of college, and I told him, I went over there and I seen I dropped out of college, and he cried. I'm like, "Man, what's wrong with you?" He knew where I was headed, and he didn't want me to go down that path. You had a shot, young man, and then you're blowing your shot, And I understood it, later in life, but yeah, right then and there, I seen because my stepfather raised me from 2 years old, and right then and there, I seen probably one of the strongest people I ever met. Heartbreak.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he wanted something for you.
He wanted something for you, and that's So when I tell you that when they start seeing me go down the wrong path, it's not. I was. It was at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then you get to a certain age, because I got kids that are in their 20s and 30s. They got to let you go.
Your parents have to let you go?
Everybody has to let you go. You make your own, because if you don't, we're not going to allow, as a man, we're not going to allow, from 22 to 32, no, men don't want anybody to tell them what to do. Mm. They don't want to listen. A lot of men and women, but majority of men, my boys, but when they got in trouble, they called me and they would ask for advice. "Dad, what should I do? I got this happened, this happened, this happened." Then I would give them advice. But as far as me guiding them anymore, we had to let them go.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
You wanted to chart your own path?
Well, what I wanted was, I wanted to be a good father. And I had my son when I was 19 years old, and his mom was great as far as sharing him with me. And then when he became 9 years old, she let me raise him. So I raised him. This is, something that you can't get a mother to do. Mm. And she's a good girl. She was a good girl. She just knew that, okay, he needed a father, and I can do good for him. So once I got that responsibility of being somebody's Superman, I started changing.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't change fast.
by the time you're 26, 27, 28, things are starting to kind of turn around?
Me and my wife got together. I was around 27 years old. So yeah. I was definitely when you meet a good woman, then things really start to change.
That's also for men when your brain is finally fully formed and maybe you have more impulse control and things can kind of slow down. You can be a little bit more intentional about the choices you make and the actions you take, just from a brain perspective.
But it takes us so long. It takes us men so long because now you still have the same friends. So when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, man, we're still immature. We're still there. I think I was still playing Madden, hanging out with the guys and stuff. But I was growing, and instead of me hanging with them, they were hanging with me. It was my house. I always had a place to live. I had, then things started changing. Do
you feel like when you changed it was almost a ripple effect through all of your friends too? Like kind of setting...
They started noticing it. They thought about it.
They give you shit about it, or were they like looking up to you?
I think they looked up to me. They do. I know they did, because it's how I did it. My friends watched me raise my kids. They seen it. So they had probably before me and my wife really started living together and stuff. Like they watched me raise the kids, and she had to work on the weekends. Kids come over and stay the weekends with me. We wasn't living together, but and they seen me teach them how to cook. Hamburger helper was the first meal I taught my boys how to make. Go in there and make some hamburger milk, or hamburger helper. And we wasn't financially stable back then, so the money was funny. And so yeah, they watched me and they seen that the money didn't make me. It didn't make me into a better parent or a worse parent. It was the parent part was totally separate from the financial part. And I figured that this is more important. I'm gonna get this together and try to get this in order at the same time. But this is what I need to work on, and that's how I thought back then. But yeah,
But it's hard when you grow up in poverty. I mean, it's fair to say you grew up in poverty.
No.
But you were living in arsenal courts.
I grew up. My mother, poverty is a state of mind. Okay, my mother never had that state of mind.
Okay.
So I didn't grow up in poverty.
Okay.
I had what I wanted. I never wanted anything. My lights never got cut off. We never were hungry. I knew that. I seen that. I had friends like that, but my mother didn't. And that's a blessing. Again, if I'm not living that life, and I'm watching the Cosby Show every Thursday. This is a different life that I live in my mind.
The thing that I'm thinking as you're telling your story is like, if I think about the Cosbys, you had the family part of it. So you were starting to build the family part of it, the interconnectedness, the relationships, the being present for your children. But the money part of it was harder to...
That was with everybody. I mean, the money part came when I stopped trying to do anything illegal, right? And
but I think young kids do the illegal stuff, and maybe correct me where I'm wrong, but because we all have aspirations, and in America, money is kind of the ticket to dreams, or it's sold that way,
right?
That in order to be somebody in this country, you're going to have money, and so if you look at the paths laid out before you, and you want the Huxtable lifestyle, you can do the family part, that's free. But the other part of it, his fancy house and the stuff he can give his kids.
Education and money.
That takes money. That all takes money. And that kids without the path to that comes more naturally. Now I'm a kid who also grew up in Rock Island, very privileged. So I saw this from the other side of it. I saw kids just as smart as me, just as talented as me. Our paths kind of diverged, and I grew up with money, and it unlocks doors for you, and it makes it easier. Like I had a path to prosperity, and I think for a lot of kids in Rock Island, what I saw was there was not like a for sure path to prosperity, and that's where I would see kids my age get into something funny on the side because they wanted that dream too. And so they would go this alternate route to get it.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm always
That's
like,
my route. That was my route. It was the alternate route to get it. And it was, you know, like I said, it's crazy. Like back then, I mean, you see a lot. And like my grandma had all these kids, my uncles. I had uncles and relatives and stuff that were on drugs. And then you see them, and now this is your uncle walking down the street. And I had one that had did it 30 plus years. And
did what, like drugs or crack?
Crack.
Or?
He was, and if you see him right now today, you'd be like, wow, you think I'm lying. Because there's a light switch that comes on sometimes, and it gets dim when you walk around. I mean, I went years when I was going down the wrong path, not looking at the sky, not looking at you. I'm walking, so I got tunnel vision. I go out where I'm going, I go straight to the car, and then one day I think I was walking out the mall, and I looked up at the sky, and I looked and I seen trees and stuff. I'm like, I'm losing myself.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean, what's important? This is important. Because this is right here, this is for you. You know, you get a chance to take in nature, take in the universe and be able to, and embrace it. But when you get so caught up in a certain way of living and caught up in a whole bunch of bad habits, you know, not doing what you're supposed to, you know, whatever it is, that you lose control over where you're going. And you don't even see the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get on this hamster wheel.
You don't even
and you
know
don't
it,
before
yeah.
you know it, you don't even know what you worship anymore.
No.
Is it the money? Is it the power? Is it the reputation? Is it the drug? Is it, you know, and you forget or lose touch with more of your spirit, like your divine spirit of we're all on like a spinning rock that's
Right.
hurtling through space and we're on a beautiful planet and we just strip it of all of its
Yeah, we forget about it. We forget about it because after a while, everything, it's like repetition. If you look at things and you've seen, like we've seen a certain tree forever. That tree is just a tree. We've seen it. And my wife, like, time is flying. I said, I think time is going fast because we're seeing the same things over. And what we got to do is start looking for different things, start taking out time to embrace different things. Because when you can constantly see the same, yeah, it's gonna go fast. Because you're not. I mean, your brain is not going to get charged up over seeing the same tree or the same house or the same river, the same water. So now you got to start thinking or doing the same thing, going to the same gym. You know, whatever it is, repetition. You got to start putting yourself and say, you know what. It's going to be a good day. This morning, I went down to Sunset. I meditated right before I got here. Got in the element, felt real good about it. It was calm. We got the overcast. I got a nice breeze, but you got to embrace some things. So I think that once you start understanding that the outside world, the element, the things that they put in front of you every day, it's not what you're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
They put it out there for you to look at, and it takes too much of your time.
I think that's so true. And I think that is, you know, what my daughter's going through, what your son is going through, probably on totally different spectrums of what is put in front of them. One for a girl might be around, you know, your lips need to look like Kylie Jenner's lips or something. For your son, it might be around clothing or success. I don't know what
it is. It's all the above and acceptance from your peers and all that type of stuff. So, yeah.
And then you get old like us and you're like, I want to look at a bird and just be in awe over this bird and all the stuff that you think matters from that age of like 13 to 25 when actually there's some interesting biology in that kids are kind of programmed to turn against you and to fight with their siblings, and it's in order to like move them out of the unit, and it's probably evolutionary to stop people who are related from reproducing together. So if you think about our ancestors, if we lived in more like small groups that traveled around, at a certain age, young people would kind of go off on their own,
right.
and they're kind of built to reject their parents,
right.
But then once they start reproducing, to come back to the unit. And so it's those ages of like 13 to 20 something where there's this natural individuation and like moving away from, and it's a process that people have to go through and to go out and check things out. But now checking things out can be looking at your phone, you know, instead of going
right.
into another group and learning how to survive there.
You got control and you got control over what you see.
Yeah.
So now that was different compared to what we had, because let's say this. I had to go to the doctor yesterday, and I had to take a test, and it made that shh noise, right? And I'm listening. My son is sitting over there. He went with me, and there was an older lady that was running the test. I said, that sounds like at the end of the night when I was a kid that the station was over it, and it was just that shh. Mm-hmm. And I said, but he would never know anything about that. Meaning, to get back on this, what I'm saying, we had no control. The TV went off at a certain time. Mm-hmm. The TV never goes off for these kids now. They always got access to entertainment. And that was in it for us. That was it. You can pull out a board game if you want to, if you were up late or whatever. But some stations were done. And now these guys got access to information, and now you got to tell them kind of what's entertaining. And some people find, the fight videos or whatever like that, you got to pick. I tell myself, and I told my kids, you got to make your own world. You make your own world. So that means you deal with the people that you want to deal with. You read the things that you want to read. Don't let them push it. I don't watch the news. I do not watch the news
Good for you.
all. I don't. And it's not, I just, because I understand that we all have problems. And what the news is other people's problems. Yeah. And I'm praying for them. But I got to focus on me. I can't not worry about what's going on with Donald Trump, Puff Daddy, whoever else they got going on right now. I just know that Demetrius Johnson, Chanda Johnson, and these kids that we have, we got to be taking care of them, living by example. Now, down here with our business, this is our second business. We had a group fitness called Nothing to Lose Fitness in Bettendorf.
Oh, cool.
Me and my wife. And it's just us focusing on different projects and doing things, but you gotta block out the world if you want to focus on yourself and get some things accomplished, like you're doing now with your podcast. You got to get some you time and focus on what you want going on.
Part of doing this was actually kind of feeling so powerless at the national level. And every time you turn on the news, it's just a horror story.
Yeah, I can't do it.
But that in your own community, it's probably most powerful within your own body to not be at war, to find peace within yourself of different parts. Like you said, you have the angel and the devil. And, so first we've got to figure this out. And then it's, how am I going to be with my partner, and then with my children, and then with my neighborhood.
There you go.
And that we are a ripple effect. Like the human heart, the smallest first cell in it is just replicated over and over again. Right. Or the smallest pattern in a tree leaf is replicated. So if probably the best thing we could all do is find peace in our own bodies, and then the world would magically be better. I don't know.
No,
but doing this helped me, because it's like, we can't control everything going on, but maybe there's some piece of Rock Island or in my own community to feel some
You can
certain
control
way.
you. That's it.
Yeah.
You control you, but like I said, what you put out there is what you're going to get back. So if you can say all the nicest words and to an individual, but if your heart's not in it and you're thinking in your mind that they're not going to make it, they're nobody, you're going to get that energy back.
Yeah.
You're going to get it back. And even though you say, I want this podcast to be the best podcast, I want you to enjoy it and all this, and all the time I'm thinking, this is a waste of time. But that energy comes back because you can't hide it. Energy is something that you can't hide. Just because you say things. Words are powerful. Don't get me wrong. But this right here forms the words. So the way you think and how you feel is a lot more powerful than the words that come out of your mouth. Because this forms the words, then it comes out. You get a chance to say those words 10 times in your head. If you say right now that it's going to be a good day, it's going to be a good day, it's going to be a good day, out loud, fine. You can say the same thing without opening your mouth. It sounds the same, right? Yeah. Or I tell my buddy, this is the power of the mind with me too. I tell my buddy, he lost his son. And he's missing his son. He's going through something. And he had told me, man, I said, listen, close your eyes and say something that your son would say to you in your mind. And he did. I said, was it in your voice or was it in his voice? He said it was in his voice. That's how powerful your mind is. You're never stop hearing your son's voice. You can do it. I hear my grandfather screaming in my head all the time. I just love to hear him scream all the time. But if I want that feeling, I can get it. So you can go strong. It goes deeper, you know what I'm saying, in these words. So, and that's the energy that I want back. I want to be able to, if I am having a horrible day, I want to have a conversation with my grandmother or my grandfather, somebody in my head, and hear that voice and like tell you, baby, it's going to be okay. You know it's going to be okay. And you got that comforting voice. You got that, you got, this is how strong that is right there. It is, I don't even know what it is. It's the power that you really do have that no one can control but you. So your thoughts, so make sure you think the right things and it'll come out.
Did you learn that somewhere, or did you kind of make that up, like what you shared with your friend?
No.
Did that just kind of come to you?
I don't know, over 5 years ago, I told the story to my wife and a few other people. My mother had COVID when COVID was bad. And she was on a ventilator. And we couldn't get in the hospital. My sister came from Atlanta. I got a sister who lives in Atlanta. She came from Atlanta. And we sat out of the room every day. And it was a group of us, you know, and it's a intensive care unit up there at Rock Island Hospital. And I remember I lost it when they had first called me from the hospital, like they're going to have to do it. And I had to tell my mom, they're going to have to put you under for a little while, Mom, you're going to be okay and all that. So I go down to Sunset. And that's where I go when I want to feel better. You know, it's a good place for me. And I go down and I'm screaming and yelling and screaming and yelling. And I'm like, no, my mama. And I remember asking God, calm me down. Calm me down. And it was like, you know, and I was like, literally calmed me down to the point that I was like, okay. And I knew what I said, and you know what everybody would say, man. Don't take my mama now. I'll be better. I'll do better. And at that point, when I got that calmness, I was different, and it wasn't no spiritual awakening or nothing like that. It was just, I was different. I was like, okay, all right, if I lose her, I'm good. If I got her, I'm blessed. But I'm ready for it all now. He calmed me down and told me. So from that point forward, my approach to things was to keep a calm, peaceful mind and think about it. And then different things started opening up for me, just like you said, with me believing what's this, how powerful my mind is, and that right there showed me right there. So I don't know, it was something. Then I started just thinking and doing things different, doing research. You know, I want to know about the third eye. I don't know if it's all true. It's so much that information. So my social media became educational for me from that point forward. And I was happy that I had my mom, and I knew that if I wanted different things in life, I had to be a different person. I wasn't a bad guy 5 years ago, but I was still, I still had things that I didn't get over. I still had childhood issues. There were things that you have to get out of your mind. Your mother ever say anything to you, and she's always said it. And when she says it pushes your button, you know? And I had a cousin right now, he's into it with his mom, and I say, listen, man, you have to change. If you want a better relationship with people, you have to change. So my mama say some things I probably would upset me, not much now, because we got the best relationship ever now. That's my baby. But it used to be to the point that I would get mad, but now I give it a day or two, and I call my mom up like, what did you eat last night? Or what do you got planned for today? Or what's going on? Or, whatever. I don't hold that. It's, it's more important to have a relationship with her than it is to be upset with her.
Yeah, I had a pastor on a couple episodes ago, and talking about spirituality and God, and we talked about some of that stuff, and it made me reflect on my spirituality as an adult. Really came out of getting sober. So I've been in recovery for 14 years.
Okay.
And I worked a program to help me, and it was like exactly what you're talking about, where a life run on self-will and just thinking about yourself in this kind of, what bad thing happened to me, or who am I upset with, or what grudge do I have, or it keeps you really sick. And that through this program, it's anonymous, but you work these steps that kind of help you to like pull accountability towards yourself. And they really highlight that
it all goes back to yourself.
You can't control anyone. You cannot control people, places, and things. And you do kind of an inventory of your own behaviors, and then you try to make amends with people that maybe you've harbored anger, resentment, and therapy can be helpful, and spirituality is helpful. And but what I hear you saying, even when you said poverty is a mindset, because it is, and poverty is real for people who can't afford food or, don't have housing. But what I hear you saying is that a meaningful way to live for you has been to be the ultimate one responsible for your own life.
It's on you.
And maybe with the power or the help of like God or
the universe,
the ancestors,
whatever you want to call it.
But like inviting that in for some support, but then being very accountable to yourself.
Right. What it is the support. It's just the way of looking at it. When you say poverty, listen. When you just said poverty is a mindset, and people listen. We were back when we had a recession. Me and my wife, we were broke.
Yeah.
We were broke. I was trying to sell real estate for rule. If you didn't sell a house, you didn't make any money. Well, who's buying houses in recession?
Back in like 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a rough time.
Yeah. So what happened, what we doing was, I went to the food pantry. We had to get food, right? And that was cool. I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't think it was anything wrong with it. I took my uncle one time, like, man, I said, they're giving away food. I said, well, so I need food. So I started going, I went. But once I got it, and then, once I did it, I turned on other people, my friends that were going through hard times. I'm going through the food pantry. Wow. So it didn't make me feel like, I'm still being helpful by but with not having, but I couldn't help you, but I can point you in the right direction. And that right there helps you out. You're talking about as far as poverty or feeling poor. I didn't feel poor because I had an avenue to get something. So I wasn't gonna keep it to myself. So other people, you need help, and my buddies, their moms and stuff, and I would go for them, because so I didn't. I want to say the whole poverty. I know they didn't have it, and it's just we had to go out there and get it. I had kids.
Yeah.
We had to eat.
Yeah.
We had to eat something. We had to do things. So when we went through that, now we go down to the Christian family care.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, and my wife more than me because I'm busy a lot. But she goes down and she helps and she volunteers now because we're not there anymore. But we came out of it. But we give back. We wanted to work at the food pantry. We wanted the thing because the thing that helped us get where we are today. Because without the food pantry, it would have been a hell of a night. But yeah, now we give back. So we think about just like that. Like I said, the mindset, you got to remember when people grow up, a lot of times they block out that past. And like they've never went through it. And the good thing is that I'm not ashamed of my past. I won't talk about it unless it's beneficial. If there's something that I can use in my past, when I have a deep conversation with my son, say, listen, son, I went through this.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. But what I did do was learn from it and grow from it. And now I done got to where I am now. I feel real good about talking about it. So when I go down there, we can get back on the green store a little bit. I go down there and I am a positive influence on the people that walk in and out that door.
Yeah.
And
I often say that, like, I'm not going to tell everybody all the stories of
no,
when I was
you
out
can't do
there
that.
doing whatever I was doing.
No.
In that program I was talking about, they say, we do not wish to shut the door on the past nor
Right.
forget it, you know, but what you want to do is reach your hand back through the door and grab somebody and pull them through with you. And those are the people that you can share,
And you share
the grittier details
exactly.
of, you know, to show that, like, yeah, I understand the lows that can take you to. And there is hope and there's a future on the other side of
There you
it.
go.
And so was buying the green store and kind of making a part of your life being back in.
The green store fell in my lap. I didn't go down there to buy the green store. I was down there. My uncle was down there. He was owning it, and I had just closed down the gym we had out in Bettendorf. Me and my wife. We group fitness, and our lease was up, and I was like, all right, you know, I work. I got a job too. I work at Alcoa, and I'm just gonna work and get ready to get this pension, and I'm tired. This stuff, that was hard work. But I ended up going down there, and he asked me about it. I crunched some numbers, and I was saying, well, it could be beneficial. And then with me being down, I said, let me just work down here for a few months and see how it is. Just come in and help you out a little bit, and then I'll let you know if I wanted to get it. And I was like, okay. And then dealing with people, seeing different ways I would run it, what I would do differently, how I would deal with the people. And I said, you know what? I remember telling my stepmom, I can help these people. And I said, I'm not talking financially or nothing like that. I said, just being around and having a good conversation with some people, you might can help some people. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know, and I might can make some money, you know. So if I can get a couple of dollars and then I can help some people, that's beneficial. And then when they come in now and I talk to them, and the relationship I got with these people, the elderly and the kids, and I mess with the kids and stuff like that, I tell a lot of them that's where I started off at, right over there, you know, right where you live at. You know, I met my wife. It's crazy that 24 years ago, she was living over there, right? And yeah, she was there, and so she can tell them the same story. And she wasn't. I was there when I was a baby, when I was a little guy, you know, when I was 5 years old and stuff like that. She was a young adult living over there, and she stayed over there for 4 years, and she had to go through the same type of stuff that they're going through now. A bunch of young adults out there. She was a single parent down there, and now she's over there, and she's half owner of the green store. So she can share her life experience with the females down there also, and they treat her with so much respect down there because she's so nice.
Yeah.
And she thank you and all that. And a lot of people, they come in that store not with the best attitude, but we kill them with kindness. They come in, yes sir, no sir, thank you, appreciate it, anything else you need, so on and so forth. We open the door up, we carry their bags to the door. It's just what we do. And when they walk out, they say thank you and have a nice day. And that's what I want. It's just the little bit things to come through. And they're open up to you. You know, a lot of the young guys come in, hey man, I got a job interview. That's what's up. Where at? And then we'll talk about that for 20 minutes or whatever. You know, or hey man, I just proposed to my wife. I mean, proposed to my future wife, my girlfriend. That's what's up. And so we get those kind of conversations. And then, you know, when a lot of times, yeah, we help out the elderly people. They come in, they don't have enough. We take care of them too. Just how it's supposed to be now, you know.
So you said it fell into your lap, but maybe it was put there for a reason.
It's always put there for a reason. But I didn't expect it. But yeah, everything happens for a reason.
And you came to that first meeting we had, trying to get a tenants association going. We had Mayor Ashley Harris came, and what motivated you to want to come and be a part of the meeting in the community center for the residents? To
be honest,
I mean, we did serve pizza, but
I don't eat pizza. To be honest, Ashley came to the store the day before. Him, Glenn Evans, and God, what's his name?
Another
Tim?
older person?
Yeah, it was. I want to say.
Dennis Platt.
No, it was Tim or. I can't remember, but I got to get in touch with him while I'm thinking about it. He told me to call him. But they came through, And they hung out at the store for a while and then let me know, hey, man, you know what? We're going to be across the street tomorrow, I think about 1 o'clock or whatever. Come check us out. And I was like, cool. So I went over there and I had questions because I deal with these people all the time. And they come through with a lot of complaints, and the management was going through a changeover.
Well, they just weren't there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just nobody there for a while.
Yes. So, yeah, I went over there, and I'm a part of that community now. I'm there. I've been there for about a year, upcoming a year. I bought it about a year ago, but close to a year now I've been down there working. And, I want these people to get a fair shake, That's why I buy the things that I buy. Before it was a candy store. Now you can get wings, you can get ground beef, you can get, pizzas, and you can get some things that hold you over. If you can't get to Walmart now, if you don't have a ride, a lot of people down there don't have rides.
Right.
So them coming across the street, us accepting EBT cards, all that works out for them. And they come through, and you'll be surprised at how much they shop in there. They're like, oh, wow, but they'll come and get the things that they need. They got canned goods, they got cleaning supplies, It's not just candy and chips and pop.
Could you see it growing? Do you feel like there's a need for more, some shoes, some T-shirts, some backpacks?
I got T-shirts down there. I got socks down there. I got stuff. I mean, you throw everything down. You try to get everything, and they'll come in and they'll ask for specifics, Pampers. So I got Pampers down there, stuff like that. Whatever. And it has to sell. I don't want to buy stuff and let it sit on the shelf because one person asked for it. So when we get it, we get it. And you still got to have. You want to be helpful, but you still got to have a business mindset.
Could you see yourself doing any sort of? Because in the West End revitalization work that like Thurgood Brooks and Avery Pearl and Valerie Jarrett and the Martin Luther King Center, one of their findings is that traditional mental health stuff isn't working. Could you see yourself doing any sort of programming if you had a grant on, maybe fitness or mindset or kind of almost?
We had, do you remember JTPA? Mm-mm. Okay, back when we were kids, I forget what it stands for, like junior something. We got summer jobs. They paid us every summer. And we worked in an apartment complex. I worked in turnkey back in the day. I worked in turnkey, then I ended up working in the Lincoln Homes. They had us cutting the grass and maintaining stuff. I ended up working one time, I worked at Lincoln Park. And see, the thing is, we got checks. Get these kids something to do, clean up the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So just, we can pay them. We can have them walk up and down these blocks and pick up and cut the people's yards. They need some type of incentive. And that's one thing. That's why I'm going to revitalize the Green Store, because what they need to see is growth. Mm-hmm. If they don't see any growth, they, like I said, we talked about it earlier, seeing the same thing over and over and over. Okay, now we're going to put a fence around here. We're going to put new siding and new windows on here, and it looks different. Mm-hmm. And you see better, you want better. And I could just...
Well, and somebody who knows how to do that stuff, I don't, but some sort of a contractor, somebody who knows how to put in a window, like helping train the kids so that they can then take that and have
We
their
used
own...
to have the stuff at school. They had auto mechanic, auto body classes and stuff like that. If you want to help these kids, teach them something.
Give them a pathway to that lifestyle they envision that is not going to get them in trouble.
Yeah.
Because if there's no pathway that doesn't get you in trouble, they'll find a pathway where it might get you in trouble, because people have pride and desires and they want better for themselves. And
you got to show them. There was a commercial back when I was a kid about I forget the guy's name, and he's working at McDonald's. He was on the steps, and he coming from his job, and everybody was harassing him, but he had a job, and that right there at the end of the commercial, he's working at McDonald's. One of his buddies came up to him and said, "Hey, man, I gotta get one of those jobs at McDonald's." Mm-hmm. You're gonna get what you're going to get, because everybody want to, be bigger than whatever. But this is somebody you're gonna be. Hey, man.
Not everyone can be a YouTube star. No. I think sometimes kids think, well, I'll just become like an influencer.
I didn't know what that was until the other day.
Yeah, well, you're an influencer now, are you? You got so many views on your...
Yes, I was like, wow, that's deep. That's different, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
That right there caught me by surprise. To put a video up and get almost 100,000 views, it's crazy.
I hope you keep that momentum going, because I think Century Woods is actually quite beautiful. Like the buildings, the green space, and they're like you recognize. I think I recognize there's just a lot of really good, talented people there who are limited by financial circumstances right now. But how do you like wrap love and support around that community to make that a jumping off place like it was for you or for your wife? Or like this is a place you might need to be for a little while you get your feet under you and you figure some things out. But what do you want next for yourself? And what is that going to be?
Right.
And how do you...
And write it down.
Write it down. You could do a manifestation class at the, but how do you also like block out the shiny stuff that might be distracting? What you see, people chasing online. Yeah.
People do it all the time. It's not impossible. It's just you gotta, like I said, you gotta envision yourself. You gotta see yourself different. You gotta see it. And my thing, I would just have, if I could do something. And Ivy Pro, it's my cousin, as a matter of fact.
Avery?
Avery, I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, can you be the president someday?
Yeah,
I think Avery is so talented and special, but I don't think he likes the limelight.
No.
But what a just gem of Rock Island. He's like a natural leader.
And I got to go down there and talk to him, because he came to the meeting that time. And I said, I didn't know he was working at the King Center. But I would really, I used to go talk at the YWCA down there, and they just had the youth come through, and I just went and volunteered and just sit there and have a conversation with these guys. They don't want to hear it, but then somebody will hear. I done bought shoes for them and stuff like that, guys. I look at the shoes, like, check it out afterwards. I'll help you get a pair of shoes, and I take them a pair of shoes. But if you let them know that where they are is temporary. And it's everything is temporary. And you can't wake up with the same anger that you went to sleep with. You have to wake up with an open mind and tell yourself, you know what, today's going to be a great day. I'm getting out here. I'm trying to make something happen. And if you make a list and you got a list of 5 things and you get one thing done, that's one thing chalked off. Now tomorrow you got a list of 4 things to get ready. You may need to add some more to that list. So you keep this list going. So you got all these little short-term goals to get done. Get it done. And then once you start getting those things done, then you'll understand that, hey, I'm stronger than what I thought I was. I'm smarter than what I thought I was. I'm more dedicated than what I thought I was. Make your doggone bed. That's what I tell, make your doggone bed. I started doing that a while ago. Me and my wife, we make the bed every morning. And that's the first thing that we accomplished that day. And start, if you write that on your list first, every day, make my bed, then I got to pay the gas bill or whatever. I got to go to the school. But put that on there first, so you done check something off already, and that right there is going to give you a little bit of push. Like, damn, okay, I'm done with that. Now what?
I think it also builds trust with yourself. If you say, I'm going to make my bed, and then you do it, you're telling yourself, I can trust you inside this system. I'm sometimes really bad at that, but I do something similar. It's most important things, MITs. And so if I have a list, I make sure to star 2 or 3 things that I have to get these done today.
Right.
I have 27 things on my list, but if you just focus on that, you can get overwhelmed and kind of shut down. But I'll do my MITs.
Get something done. I say do something. You can't do everything in a day, and you can't stress over it. Do what you need to get done, and then have a clear mind. And that's the thing, just think about, being peaceful.
Would you ever put up posters in the green store, or
for what?
Kind of helping share kind of how these models and systems have worked for you, how they've transformed your life for the people who come in
to
be, so maybe you're sharing.
You got to come in there because it's big. But you got to see. But that is a good idea. I mean, quotes or different things. I mean, uplifting things. But you got to come in there and see, because I I got it kind of full in there with stuff.
Yeah.
I would do it. When I got stuff up. People come through. They're selling plates for funerals or something like that, or they have fundraiser for backpacks and something like that. So people will come through and they'll post some stuff up. And the Green Store is always willing to donate something to any cause to help the kids or the community too. So they come through for that too. It's just so many different ways to help the community that you wouldn't narrow it down. You just, like I said, go by example. I show them how to do things. I mean, I got the kids to come through there. The youngsters come through. Can I tear some boxes down? And I let them tear. They work hard for a couple bags of chips in the pop, doggone cheap labor. No, but they come through and they hang out with me and we talk, and then I'll let them know. And if I can give them a gym before they leave, something that can stick with them, and that's really what I want to get out of the store, is just being there and able to be there, and they're going to need us. They need us.
And where Skip Along is now,
I went there too.
That's going to move because they're building a new Skip Along that's going to be attached. I think that they'll close the one right by Century Woods, but then that whole big building would be available. When we think about the components of...
What you think they can do with that? What would you do with it?
Maybe a gym. I think when we look at the components of well-being, like movement, good food,
it's got a kitchen.
Yeah, it has a kitchen, maybe a community center where they could put in a commercial kitchen for people who want to do...
It's easy.
Do you know Benicia Pruitt?
Probably, but I can't.
She does the Tutu Sweet Treats. She's an entrepreneur for sure, and she lives in Century Woods, but she's trying to get stuff going.
Is she always with her husband?
Yeah.
Yes, I know them both, yeah.
But a lot of times, people who are trying to get something like that going, they need a commercial-grade kitchen. And there are a couple other places like St. John's Church. They have one you can rent out. But to put a commercial kitchen in there for entrepreneurs, to have a place where people can work out, that'd be kind of cool.
It would be.
It would be really cool if a local person who cares about Rock Island would buy it. Instead of, they're probably going to sell it to another one of these huge national companies. But I don't know how much money you'd have to buy it.
Well, not the money. It's the credit.
It.
It's the credit. You got to have the good credit to buy it. Yeah. But if they did, that would be something that the city of Rock Island would try to partner up with and try to figure out if you want to make it beneficial for the people down there. You don't want to just not have that going, because it's been there. I'm 53.
Yeah.
And I went there.
Yeah.
And so it's been there for over 50 years also.
What's the trajectory of police in that area? Do you think that police community relations have gotten
My whole thing
better
about Rock
since
Island police is different. Because the thing about Rock Island police, and I encourage guys from Rock Island, I would rather, let's say this. When I was a kid, I didn't like them.
Well, the 90s were kind of wild.
Yeah, but it's like that now, because the thing is this. They ruined, even though the individual made the mistake, the penalty was so harsh for a young child. And then they lost connection with growth. The penalty was, say this. So we go to another community, say on top of the hill. Say it's your community. Say you're a cop. And you're driving and you end up pulling over a teenager and his friend that you know, and they got pot in the car, right? Now, you're looking at them, you're like, hey, you guys know better than this, all right? But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to take this pot, guys, and you guys go home, but I do not want you guys doing this. This is a bad decision. Don't be riding around smoking pot and all this and all that. Whatever it is. And they got a break. On the west end of Rock Island, we never got breaks. Mm-hmm. So it was the littlest thing sometimes. I got arrested at Dinkman Park, we used to pack it up back in the days, back in the early 90s. And I got arrested for jaywalking. The park, we walked back and forth across the street. That's how they didn't, and they, it was, and I was like, and then when you catch these big things, and then a lot of times, don't get me wrong, bad decisions. But they did, you would want people from your own community to help police you.
Yeah.
They're so outsourced in Rock Island that these guys are so scared sometimes, and they're down there trying to be around people that they're terrified of.
The first time I ever interacted with the police, well, maybe the second, actually, I was driving a friend home. I don't know if you know Andre Buchanan.
Yeah.
Okay, so his wife, Marquidra, was a good friend of mine in high school. So we had gone to the mall, and I was driving him home down 11th Street. I'd never been pulled over before. I think I was 16. And I don't think I was speeding. They said I was speeding. But all of a sudden, I get pulled over. So I pull into a gas station, and there are 4 police cars with a K-9 unit. And they knock on my window, and I'm like, oh, like, what happened? They're like, oh, you were doing 37 and a 35 or something like that.
Right.
They ignored me and opened all my car doors and dragged all my friends out of the car. And I didn't know anything. I was an idiot. But they gave me a speeding ticket. They searched all my friends. They didn't have anything on them. So I was allowed to take them home. But it was, I think even at 16, I knew that like somehow that must be a violation of my rights or their rights, because how do you just open a car and do a complete search with just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
Maybe I was 18. I don't know how old I was.
Right.
But I remember calling the police chief, because I did grow up on top of the hill, and I'm like, this is not fair treatment.
This is not fair.
And his advice to me was, well, if you don't want to be treated like that, don't hang out with, basically don't hang out with the wrong people. My friend
that he considered was the wrong people. Not that you considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my friend from my basketball team, like, that's the wrong people. But that was the advice. And the police chief at that time he was a black guy. And he said, if you don't want to get arrested, don't hang out with those people.
I know. And that's not fair because, but.
Do you think it's better today? Do you think it's worse? Do you think it's an important issue? It's really hard to.
The way I gauge these kids now, I deal with these kids, and I don't have a lot of problems with them at all. They're not really disrespectful at all to me at all, but I do treat them with respect, and they give it right back to me. So I don't know how they treat everybody else, but I close the store at 8:00 every night, so I don't get the problems that go on. And I get there the next morning sometimes or whatever. Somebody will tell me, "Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened?" So I don't know everything that's going on, and maybe there's some guys that come down there at night to visit friends or whatever. But I don't know. As far as the police presence, I don't know. I deal with a couple of them. They don't seem. They treat me good now. I'm an old guy now. You know what I'm saying?
You got some white hair in your beard.
I got my Papa Smurf beard going on. So yeah, I don't know how I would gauge the police in Rock Island now. I don't have a problem out of them, but I don't fit the profile anymore either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my understanding from residents, some of the frustration is that there aren't working cameras on the property, and that in and of itself would be really helpful.
The last meeting I went to, they didn't want you guys.
I know. They kicked me out, so I couldn't go.
So I went, and I talked to them, and they said they were getting 30 new cameras, and they want to have them spread it out. They got TIF money, is what I understand, that they got to spend. So they're getting 30 new cameras and some to recognize license plates, and they want to have police presence. And I just told them the police presence, just be careful who you put down there.
Yeah.
Don't put anybody down there. And there's officers from Rock Island, Moline and stuff, and we get along really well. But you want somebody.
And you kind of know by name the officers that are adored. And I won't shout them out on this podcast, but the residents really have built trust with.
And put them
down.
They
care
there.
For, there's kind of safe police officers who do a good job, who know how to de-escalate.
Right. And
sometimes
that's what you want.
I think that is a good point that I read a study once that said the most when they studied like racism, the people who harbored the most racist views were people who drove through poor areas but never lived in them.
Right.
And those people had the most kind of fundamental belief systems that were warped because they kind of passed through a place.
They had no idea.
They don't know the people there. And so I do think that there is something to that idea of having a police force that reflects your community and is close to your community. That probably does matter. And I don't know what
they come from all over. These the officers, they what do you say, Monmouth, Bluegrass, I don't know. They come from these towns and they come to Rock Island to go to work. There's nothing wrong with that. I work at a place and people come from all over to work. But when you do have a job in law enforcement, you want somebody down there that's going to listen to you. You don't want somebody that's going, hey, to strong arm you. And I just worry because a lot of the time these kids are not good communicators. So now you got somebody that's not listening to you, and then you don't know how to talk to them.
Right.
So now there's no happy medium. There's going to be a conflict.
Yeah.
So but if I know your mom, what's your last name? If a cop walks up to you, and something's going on, but you're not going, hey man, don't I know your mom? Or don't I know your uncle? Come here, let me talk to you. And that way, you're going to be better. You can better de-escalate something by saying that first before you say, put your hands down, be quiet, I'm running this. No, this is whatever. Instead of trying to be the man in charge, you kind of want to find out. You want to read the room.
Well, and there's this idea that police are servants. They are there to serve and protect. And sometimes they can be more of like, and there is a level of authority, but it's almost like parenting. They say that parenting is like holding a bar of soap. Mm-hmm. You hold it too loose, it'll slip through your hands. You hold it too tight, it'll slip through your hands. And that there's this approach, whether it's as a parent or as a teacher or an officer or a coach, where you have to have, you can't be a jellyfish and you can't be a brick wall. You have to have a strong back and a soft front.
Know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, like you have to have boundaries and a backbone, but you don't have to be.
You can be, listen, there's been guys who come in the store and I had to be aggressive. Hold up, this is my store.
Assertive or aggressive?
Aggressive.
Okay.
Because you have to be aggressive sometimes. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling them not to, but read the room. When they come in and they strong, hey, this and that, and hey, man, put that down. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. That's fine. But then again, you see somebody come in, it's just a couple mentally challenged people to come in there. My wife don't know. And one of them comes in, and you won't know it until they kind of start talking. Then you got to kind of, fill them out. And you hear them, and they don't. So you got to react differently. So he'll go through there and hold the freezer open for 10 minutes. Hey man, close the doggone freezer up, man. But you say it with say it. Yeah. Hey, you come in here every day. I ain't changed nothing. It's the same stuff. What do you want? But you playing with them in that way instead of being aggressive. But the other people come in, they'll be on their phone, and somebody might be disrespectful, and they're cussing or they got the music on. And hey, cut that off.
Yeah.
All right. This is a store. All right, and then you got to say some stuff to get your point across, but you got to read the room. And these people don't get mad at me and lose respect for me or whatever. Sometimes they stop and like, okay, my fault, OG. Mm-hmm. And then they, or they, some of the girls. I had a couple girls that got mad at me, and that's all right. Don't come back, because there's a way that I want this store. I want the store to feel a certain way.
You've got to have boundaries.
You got to have control over it. This is my business. It's my home. It's the people. So I got to have control, but I don't have to be a dictator.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can talk to these people on their level, and I can talk to, like I said, if I got somebody that's maybe be autistic or has a problem, and I just come in buying cigarettes. He's 20 some odd years old, but he's got a mind of a child. Or I got these youngsters come in that they think this facade of being hard and wearing the hoodie. I make them take your hood off before you walk to my door.
Yeah.
And they look at me and they take it off. So now I don't have to say it. I walk up to the door, they just, they'll take it off. But that's what you want. And what we're talking about as far as law enforcement, that's what you want. So when the guy come up and you're like, okay, man, I mean, you knew better than that. Whatever they need to do, because both of you guys are showing respect. And that's how you want to
and
govern
that important part of like, a kid who has a mental challenge who might not act right, but that's because, but you know them, so you can like.
I can relate. I can understand. I won't.
You don't make assumptions that they're being a jerk or something.
No.
You're like, oh, this kid has a challenge, and that's why.
And that takes out, and that's what you want. So when a police officer's down there walking, I think they said they want to have them kind of like walking around in there. When they see that individual, they don't feel threatened. I'm like, I know him, and they got to say that, but it's got to be the right people down there to talk to him. And that's why I said if it's somebody from Rock Island, from the Quad Cities or whatever,
it makes a difference.
Put them down there.
Yeah,
it'll help it out. It'll run a lot smoother.
Yeah, and I think like from the time we were in high school, crime is way down. I mean, I think the 90s were kind of a high. That was kind of a high point.
I was there down there in the 90s, yeah. I ended up leaving in 91 and going to Atlanta right before the Olympics came in 96. And that saved me because I got a chance to go somewhere else. And it helped me, too, because you see growth in Atlanta. You see the big city. You get to do things. It was an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world because I seen people that look like me with money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I seen, when you ride around, you see these nice, extravagant cars, the Benzes and all that good stuff. When I was here, I was seeing people driving those cars that look like me.
Yeah.
So it gave me, now I got the Cosby Show, now I got Different World, now I got Atlanta. And now I'm like, you know what? I don't have to be like everybody else. So now I come back and I do my thing. But once I got to the point that, you know what, I'm going to think and treat people differently, and I'm going to do things differently. And my wife is is my biggest cheerleader. She got her skirt on, her pom-poms, and she ready to ride along with me. Yeah, there's a way to live. And all the stupid things that I've done in my life growing up for whatever reason, right now I'm at my happiest because I'm smarter, I'm more patient, and I know what it takes to grow. And it all, like we said, it starts inside of you. So yeah, you want to see it. And when I start seeing it in Atlanta, I knew that it was now it's just not on TV.
It's a possibility.
Now it's right here in front of my face.
Yeah. And you become a symbol of that in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, and he owns this place, and he runs this thing, and he's worked at Alcoa and built a life and has 5 kids. And just seeing those examples reflected back to you makes a difference.
That's it.
Just your presence of showing up in your family peacefully. If I go home and I'm peaceful with my family, it makes a difference.
Right.
I think some of the terrible stuff about politics today is like just people on TV talking about how awful everything is makes things awful. So if I just got a bug up my butt today and went home and started saying in front of my children, your dad's the worst. Can you believe he did this and this didn't happen right? And I could destroy my family within the time frame of a year, know?
No, and honestly, because you are giving them these bad habits, that it's okay to complain.
But I would make them start to believe that this beautiful thing that we have isn't good.
No.
And it's not good enough. It's terrible. And then maybe he'd get wind of that, and maybe he'd start saying the same thing. And so every little system is just goes out to the big system. And so even in the national lens, it's like people just talking about how terrible everything is all the time makes things kind of terrible.
And it's not.
I mean, there's so much good.
There's, and I tell myself, and I believe it wholeheartedly, there's more good people than bad. I believe that. I believe there's more good people, there's more good energy than it is bad energy. And you just got to go find it. And if you put yourself, you got to, you sit out there, and you, like my mother used to call me up and she used to complain about the neighbors and whatever, so on and so forth. I'm like, Mom, you can move. It ain't that easy. It is pretty much that easy. Or, you're going to have to learn how to deal with it. But I don't complain.
Yeah.
I don't like complainers. So my mother fixed that. That's why she loves me so much. She has to love me. She fixed that. She stopped herself years back and I'm not going to talk about that stuff with him. But but it was something.
It kind of changes your reality.
Yeah, because she's not.
Or one step further is the person who drives you nuts, that's your neighbor, to go out and say, are you all right? Like, do you need something? Mm-hmm. Do you need help?
That's what happened, I think, too, because she got sick. The neighbor had got sick. And I'm crazy about the neighbors. I've always been. I'm just that guy. And she's an older woman. And as soon as she got sick, my mother called me and said, I think something's wrong with her. And you might want to come check out and make sure what's happening. So even though she was complaining about
she realized she actually loved her.
She actually loved. That's her neighbor.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But it was just the point of having that right there was, I don't know if it's your entertainment, but it was your habit.
Yeah.
So we broke that habit right then and there. We started, we were not going to complain about these people no more. They are who they are.
Yeah.
Let them be who they are. And I got love for them. And now it seems like you have love for them too.
Yeah.
So that's about the bad things.
Sometimes, and I said this on the podcast that I did last week, and I'm just curious about your take, but let's say that I got to be in charge tomorrow, mm-hmm. and you think about how to do policy at a national level and for states. Mm-hmm. You know how we have all these programs like EBT, SNAP benefits, mm-hmm. child care subsidies, temporary assistance to needy families, Medicaid. Mm-hmm. We have all these social programs. But when you utilize them, you're kind of pigeonholed into like piecing together a package to kind of survive. But they don't really build intergenerational wealth.
No.
They don't allow for a lot of freedom, creativity, idea generation. And so sometimes I think that the country would be better off to just take all the money that's spent in those programs, but also like to administer them, to monitor them, and divide it up and just give people cash to spend on their dreams, how they choose to spend their money. Do you think that's a good idea or a terrible idea?
What you saying? You're saying give them cash.
Just give people money instead of making
Instead of having to go through the different programs?
Yeah. Like you'd have a card, maybe it would be a card, mm-hmm. but it would just be loaded with cash and you could purchase the food that you want. You could pool your money to start a contracting company to redo houses. You could.
But how would you choose? How would you choose to give people money? They have to fall under some type of criteria, right?
Well, I don't know. So partly what I would think, this is would be a whole different way to do our society. But maybe you would move more toward a flat tax. And you know how when you make money, you have a progressive tax. Mm-hmm. So whatever your income is, you pay a percentage.
A percentage of what you make, yeah.
Yeah.
Every 3 months, I know.
Maybe you eliminate a lot of the loopholes. So super wealthy people don't have to pay taxes. And you just do a flat tax. And then you look at the federal government doing defense, like foreign wars, interstate highways, all the big things that the federal government does. And then you take all the profit from all the tax revenue you collect, mm-hmm. and you kind of give back an equal check to everyone in the country.
So it's like this big corporation, and we at the end of the year or maybe quarterly or however it is that you invested in there now at the profit, profit sharing.
Yeah.
And you're giving it back to the
And so if you make a lot, that profit share would maybe be nothing. You could even put in there, check off if you don't want it, and it could go back to the whole pool.
That's different because right now you don't know what people are going to do with money anyway. Excuse me. And you're saying, so everybody gets this cash.
We're all part of this America. The people who are super wealthy in America can't be wealthy without us.
Right.
Amazon,
Oh yeah, we're the consumer. Yeah, we buy everything. Yeah. That's how they get the money, right?
So we're just this social thing that we're all together.
But we program to work, right? So we got these jobs. They don't want us to be bosses.
Yeah.
Because they lose money. They don't want us to. They don't. If we get more people to think independently and say, well, okay, I want to do my own thing and I want to try this out, it'll be different. But it's more, you get up, you go to school, 8 hours. You get 2 breaks. You get to recess in the morning. you get your lunch, then you get your recess at night or whatever until you get into high school. And then once you get out of high school, you go to college, and then they kind of water it down so you can get some sort of paperwork so you can get a job in a specific field. But the thing is that they want you to get a job. So it's not like you said if they give us this money, we can use it to invest and invest and invest. A lot of times their minds, I mean, it's great for people that would do it, but that's not, I don't think they would do that because they don't want people thinking for themselves. They want sheep.
Yeah, but there's more voters than there are people in power.
I know.
Like, if people would just vote, then, you know, you could really change the way the whole society works. Like, and my favorite economist is named Amartya Sen. He's a guy from India who won a Nobel Peace Prize. But he said that your economy should be structured so people can do what they have reason to value.
Right.
And that might not always be being super wealthy. It might be the arts. It might be creativity. It might be taking care of other people. That just making money, like we've come to worship being super rich as being the end-all be-all of our existence, and that all of our social programs are structured around that, and that limits the human capacity and potential of, let's say, the guy who comes into your store with autism. What does he have the reason to do and be in value? Because he's not going to fit into this system exactly the right way. And what if we made sure that he had enough to be secure?
That'd be great.
And then to be open to, like, what is autism? Like, brains must be evolving, but they don't fit in to the system right now. And how you might unlock potential by,
I don't
know.
Yeah. I'm saying, sound borderline. You know what I want to say?
Crazy?
No, communist. Because if you think about it, how they do it, everybody has a job. Nobody's more important than everything. There's a system that they run by.
But communism, the difference in my mind is that communism is about control.
Exactly.
It's a dictator in a way.
Like, it is. I mean, I'm just saying, but this is, I'm not even going all the way to the top. I'm just I'm staying at the bottom of communism. When I'm talking about the people, what they have. Okay, if you think about it, you got guys that are boxers or sprinters or these carpenters, that is doctors, and everybody does their part in those countries like that, and they don't think about the money. They doing their part. But now...
Well, when people have the money, like if you didn't have to feel this economic insecurity...
That's the thing.
Your identity becomes about who you are as a person.
Exactly.
You know, being a doctor becomes its own reward because people value the role that you do, you're looked up to, you're respected. It's not just about the money in your bank account.
Exactly.
And so, but what would make this not communist is it would be, people would have like a lot of freedom. So it's like you just get this equal amount of money that's the profit of the country.
And you can do what you want to with it.
Yeah, so there's no control. You don't have to
That's the thing,
work even.
though.
You could work on top of it and have even more if what you value the most is money.
I don't know.
But
I'm gonna leave that to you. I don't know. That's hard. I don't know. That sounds a little different to me.
Yeah,
Right.
it's very different. But
it is very different.
It's this idea that like we are all in this together.
It's not a bad idea. It's just that it's to regulate that and give everybody a certain amount of money. It'd have to be like you have to work on a certain amount of income that if you make more than this amount, you don't qualify for the money or so. Or if you do,
I think you'd have to have everyone qualify for it.
That's the thing.
But
That's
if
what
you
you're
were a
saying. Everybody, they wouldn't.
It
they
would feel
take
like
it.
a drop in the bucket. But they shouldn't take it. Maybe there'd be social pressure or some sort of publishing of who denies it. So it would be more of a social pressure. Like if you're a trillionaire, you don't need the,
Right.
you know.
See, the thing is, what I think is bad about our country when it comes down to money, why do we have to know how much money somebody makes?
Yeah.
So that did it right there. That made it, if you think about it.
But in some ways it's good because, like, let's say that you had to have coins to reflect your money. It wasn't all electronic, and you lived in a neighborhood with Jeff Bezos. He'd have so many coins that he wouldn't be able to even, like, it would be such a monstrosity that people would be like, that's weird. Like, that guy has a problem. He is hoarding. You know, if your store was so full of stuff that it was falling out into the street, and we would see it and we'd almost be disgusted by it, or it would feel so unequal. You'd see the inequality in this visual way. You'd think they were hoarders, that couldn't, but because it's electronic and it's just a number, it's hard to conceptualize.
But the thing is, but it's a competition. You know what I'm saying? They make it like it's okay. Say in sports.
And to me, it's men beating their chests.
Yeah.
It's just, they don't have to be physically strong. It's just a number in a...
You can still make your money. I'm just saying, why does it have to be publicized?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can make all the money that you can, but let's say, okay, this guy just got the highest paid contract in football history. Well, that right there is now the next guy wants the highest paid contract in football history. So now you're going through this, but if you just, if he got it, let's not say it. Because then you're putting the pressure on the world. Now everybody knows that this guy, he just got a $100 million contract, and they think that, okay, wow. What does
that reflect back to us? Like, is he a better person now?
That's what they're doing.
Does he have more value?
There you go.
Is he going to have a better quality life? Is he going to be more in love with his partner or have more joy with his children? Like, money is so stupid in some ways. Like, we need it. I'm a capitalist.
I'm with you.
But also, it gives children and young people also the wrong idea about that. Then you made it. Made it.
I don't think about money, and I told my kids that, and I was like, me and my daughter had a conversation. I said, once you stop and you take the value away from it, it becomes plentiful. You won't go there and I gotta count it. You won't have money problems. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You got what you're supposed to be got. You got your job. You got whatever you need to make money and whatever. But now you're taking care of yourself and your family. Whatever. I guess when I got the job at Alcoa and I had enough money to take care of myself, me and my wife both worked there, so things got good at one time. But it took a lot of pressure off of us, and that's different.
I think that was when a switch flipped for me. Was when I got to a place where we were financially secure.
Right.
Then you start seeing that like money doesn't really matter.
No.
But there is a certain amount of it that does. I think for a family, they say it's like $75,000 or more. There really is a link between happiness and money because you can meet your basic needs, you can breathe a little bit, so it matters tremendously. But once you get over $100,000 a year, it actually has diminishing returns, and whether you make $500,000 a year or $25 million a year, it doesn't actually change your quality of life.
Right.
It's like if you were driving a used pickup truck and then you're like, I'm gonna get this new truck. It's called the hedonic treadmill. So you're on this hedonic treadmill where you're like, okay, I'm going to get this new truck and it's going to make me happy because it's going to convey status, but it only lasts for like a few months, that feeling of like, and then you just get used to it. And then you're like, oh, I need this other truck that's going to tell
or
people.
A new iPhone or whatever. And that's it. I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I just, I want to be comfortable. Live in a nice home, clean home, and great relationship with my wife first, and then we got to work with these kids. But it's just not the money thing. It means a lot. Don't get me wrong. We do a lot for money, but you can't. It's not about the money. Doesn't make me at all. When I dealing with my peers, when I had money and when I don't have money, I don't change. You got to treat me like a man. You got to respect me. And that's what I'm saying. I took the value out of money because the money didn't make me who I was. Didn't change my words. I didn't talk to you no different because I had $10,000 in my pocket, or I had, I owed somebody some money. I was jet broke. I'm going to talk to an individual. I am who I am, with or without money. I'm going to talk to you with respect. You talk to me with respect. And there had been a time that people, when I didn't have anything, and I've heard the whispers like, oh man, he's broke or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It never came to me face to face because they knew better. Because you got to treat, I'm still a man. If I'm cutting the grass trying to make $20 or whatever because I ain't got nothing to eat or I need some gas money or whatever, I'm cool with that. I'm that guy. All right? If I got thousands of dollars and I want to buy an apartment complex, I'm cool with that. I'm that guy. But the money doesn't change your attitude. And once it does change your attitude, you're not being authentic. If you're not being authentic, then you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, and you might lose some sense of purpose or happiness.
You're going to lose some because you're looking for something that's not real, to make you real.
what do you think it'll take to get people so engaged in like voting and changing the shape of our country? What do you think gets people fired up? Results. So if somebody doesn't deliver for you,
right? If you you make it when you people get let down a lot, and once you get let down, then you lose your enthusiasm. You know, I was happy when Ashley became mayor. Mm-hmm. You know, this is our community. So when he became mayor, we sit there and talk. And I tell you, man, read the room, figure out who you're dealing with, man. Find out your allies, find out your enemies, man. If you want to do this after your term, you know, we're going to work on it hard to keep you going, especially me down there having the store. We can work on rallying up the votes down in the Century Woods or whatever. But you got to, what do you want to do? What kind of changes do you want to do? You know, what can you do? I asked him, how much power do you have? You know, you wonder because you vote for people and you find out they don't have power.
Yeah. Well, and our mayor, in some ways, we have a weak mayor system. It's the city manager sets the policy and then the city council. But he has, what I think a mayor has the power to do, you know, might be similar to what you're doing, like paying attention to things, caring about things.
And he has a voice.
And he has a voice. He
That's
has a platform.
The thing. And he has a voice. And he can talk to the right people. And there's people that he can talk to that we can't talk to.
Yeah.
And he might get some things done. It's different. But as far as, like, you got to show some type of results. And if you've been in Rock Island as long as I've been in Rock Island, we're not getting it. 11th Street is one of the worst streets I ride down, and this is one of the biggest streets in Rock Island. And there's holes and stuff all in the middle of the streets. I mean, and we said that the land has been exhausted. There's nowhere you can build anything new or make anything. So you got to refurbish what you got, and they haven't put money back into Rock Island. Where it goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that you can do. They just did Douglas Park, but it took them 20 years to even mess with Douglas Park. And Douglas Park is the first NFL football game ever been played there. You know, there's different things that we can do. They put money.
And it is beautiful. Douglas Park is beautiful.
And we're there. It was the best when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, we're there all the time for our kids to play soccer.
Well, we had, back then, this is the difference. We all played baseball. Little League Baseball started off there. We'll start off with T-shirt, Mr. Novak. I know if people that watch the podcast, they go, Mr. Novak, and we had a lot of guys, Ken, and they came down to our hood, and we had King Center. They sponsored the team. Rock Island Police Department sponsored the team. The Elks Lodge sponsored the team, and there was another team called Optimus. We had 4 teams, and all we had to do was take a piece of paper home to our mom.
Yeah.
And they signed it, or mom or dad, and they signed that paper, and we go up there and we'll play baseball. And a whole summer league. And we had fun, and then people went up there and watched us, and the parents that came up there and watched us. And after I got old enough, I started coaching the Elks team down there, and then we kept giving back. But they took it all away.
There's a baseball diamond right on the edge of Century Woods that's all overgrown. So on the other side from Skip Along. Well, yeah, you grew up there. But, maybe getting some kids to help clean that up. And I'm sure we could get equipment that could be just checked out.
Well, why can't we get the park board to sponsor Little League baseball teams?
Yeah.
They got it up there. They're sponsoring the whole Douglas Park thing.
Yeah.
Why can't we get these kids and start them off and have sign up right before school lets out, before summer break, and have them sign up right there in school, and then meet down at the park, give us the Green Store will sponsor a team.
Yeah, I'd sponsor a team.
Yeah, so, I'll buy all the equipment for them, whatever they need, but it's easier said than done. I've tried it for years down there.
Yeah.
I've talked to the park board. I talked to when Schilling was the congressman. I talked with Schilling. So I've tried to get this going again. And I know Nicole Watson. She got Miss Bumani's, and I know Jeff. He got Roosters. They still got the Elks. We got people that are sponsor teams and stuff like that. And that right there is just something to get these kids something to do. Mm-hmm. They can put the phone down for a little while and get out there, get dirty, learn how to slide, learn how to catch a ball, pitch or whatever, and do the same thing. They got the Pee Wee Football League, which I like. I know Rock Island has the Pee Wee Football League, but you gotta start young. You can influence the older ones. But if you get these kids in the right place and you get the right individuals around them, somebody that when they see, hey, that's Mr. Johnson. It's a good guy. He's always been there. He's been helping us kids out for a long time.
Well, I'm going to put a plug in because the West End is doing their participatory budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
So right now people can go to, like if you Google MLK Center or West End Revitalization, you can vote right now because they're giving out the money, like the community gets to vote, how do they want it to be spent? So some of it is like paying neighbors to help neighbors fix up their houses, but one of the projects is called Back the Block or Take Back the Block. But it's about neighborhood associations, and Century Woods is one of the neighborhoods that could get some of the money. So what I've really been focused on is getting that tenants association started.
Right.
So now there is one, and they're going to hopefully meet once a month, but they could plan events or they could prioritize where to spend money that they get through donations. Like, all right, we want to prioritize cleaning up that baseball diamond.
Right.
Or we want to start a Century Woods baseball team sponsored by the Green Store. And maybe, one of the other neighborhoods is going to have a baseball team sponsored by Rock Island Line.
Right.
And, so there's,
everybody
should go out and vote to get some of that money. I think you have to be from the West End to vote.
I mean, you got to live. I don't live over here, but yeah.
Yeah.
You can get, but there's a lot that they can do. And hopefully in the near future, we put a little pressure. Me being down there, I know I'm going to put pressure on the city of Rock Island to do right by the West End of Rock Island.
Yeah.
And sometimes they listen to me. So hopefully,
yeah.
Once if I can get down there and we can have a good conversation, and I can bounce some ideas off the wall, they can bounce some ideas off the wall. We can get something. You got to do something. You can't do anything, and I've seen a lot of nothing for years.
I feel like the other thing we need is good landlords, like people from the neighborhood who have grown up and done well for themselves, who are willing to buy one of those $30,000 houses and put some money into it and then become a Section 8 landlord.
Well, we got a few guys like that.
we need good Section 8 landlords because you can make money. I mean, you're getting fair market rent.
a few. I got a few friends that are doing it and fixing these houses up real nice, and they're renting them out. They're doing it. It's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They're getting them done. I mean, it's not a lot, but there are a few, and I know a few.
Yeah.
That's buying up. I try to get a couple properties down there because there's an auction right now. I think it's getting ready to happen for delinquent taxes.
Oh, okay.
And you can get houses. So they're doing it now, and they're fixing them up,
and you have to do it in a way where you protect the longtime residents who own homes, so that they don't get pushed out when you have new people coming in to buy something. You want to also protect the home ownership of...
My neighbor from next to the store has been there probably for 50, 40, at least 40 years. Right next door, and I met him. His name is Mr. Lester. His name is Lester. And Lester, I told Lester when I got there, I'm going to be your best neighbor you ever had. Because Lester keeps his yard nice. I think he says 81. I think he's 81 years old. But that right there, when you said... You're worried about the people that's been there. Mr. Lester's always lived by example. He's always been a well-dressed man. He had his wife there. He, a very nice individual, keeps his yard right, and he still tries. And people come help him in the community. And but that's when you got him somebody like that. That's just one person. So you need to build off of that. And that's what I told him. I want to build with you. Since you've been here for a while, I want to be right next to you now, and I want to do the same type of things you've been doing for the last, having character, structure.
Yeah.
He's yelling at us when we was in the 90s, I know. I was one of the ones he yelled at, too, because we were all hanging out there. But he stuck it out, and he's maintained who he is. And that's what you want. You want some consistency in the hood. You want people to look up to certain individuals and be like, you know what, he's been here for a while. Yeah, great way of thinking. I respect that guy. And then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. It takes time. It took a long time for it to get bad. It's going to take a while for it to get good.
Well, I'm glad you're there, keeping an eye on things from across the street, and hopefully I can get there. I mean,
come in.
Well, they told me I've been trespassed from. I'm not officially trespassed, but if I came back,
you're not trespassed across the street.
Okay.
You come through.
Even if we had to hold a meeting, we could hold it in your front yard or on the sidewalk there. Yeah. I'm hoping I can make amends with the new property manager. I think she and I maybe could because I really just want to be helpful.
Right.
I'm not there to, you know.
Not to put ripples in the water.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm gonna bring her some flowers or something.
Food. Bring food.
Okay, I'm gonna come to the green store, buy some snacks.
Not even do that.
Head over there.
Take her a bag of fruities. No way. Like this little fruit Tootsie Roll. Take her a bag of fruities and hopefully you can have a good conversation with her. Because if you guys want the same thing, really, because she talked and she said that she wanted to get certain things done, and she did say that she's been doing this for 20 some odd years, and she know what she's doing. I had to hit her a little bit. Like I've been a part of this community for 53 years, so I know what I'm talking about too. I'm not knocking what you're saying, but you need to listen to the people also, and that's the thing right there. When you get a job and you got all these credentials, sometimes you feel that you know everything about it, and no, there's people that we just don't have the credentials. Yeah, but we got a lot of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful because at that meeting, remember we made that list of 10 things. So cameras were on there, the pest stuff, which I guess they're getting to this week or starting to really, so I feel like maybe things will get better. And I think exactly what you're saying, having people like you in the neighborhood who are just kind of solid and there and around and paying attention and reflecting back to the residents that the stuff you're bringing up matters and you matter. I think that makes such a big difference. Right. And having Ashley's back and knowing that he'll, be supportive, that makes a difference.
Yeah, this is a new journey for everybody right now, especially a new one for me. And me getting out here and interacting with the community and I'm watching kids grow. Yeah. I'm watching kids, so it's a lot. It's a lot, man, to take in. But I'm glad to be a part of it. Yeah. My wife is glad to be a part of it. Like I said, we're glad just to be there and to have a meaningful conversation. It's not just you're not just coming in the store and getting what you want all the time. Sometimes if I see it and I feel your energy and you coming in, I got people crying and people have problems with the kids or whatever. I might hold you down for a minute and tell you take a deep breath. I got a chair that I have right by the have a seat. Yeah. And just sit down for a minute. And they sit down with an elderly person that's out of breath and come in and she's tired. Have a seat. Mm-hmm. Get you a bottle of water. We'll sit here for a minute. Those things mean a lot more. And then when you can make change, a bigger change in the community, but the little things started off. The relationships make things work.
I love it. I'm so glad you're there. I'm so glad you came and talked to me today. This was nice to get to know you and, and hopefully you can do more business in Rock Island or start another thing or, who knows, but part of really powerful development is having partners like you and your wife's business that are not what Thurgood would call extractive, which means you come in, you make your money, you leave. No. It's the type of business where it's like, no, I'm a part of the community. I do more than just make money here. I pour back into the people.
You see, I didn't focus on the profit or whatever. No, you don't, because that's not the most important thing. Yeah, I need to keep the lights on and keep the stuff filled up. But these folks, they don't have transportation. Right. Right. They don't have. They don't have a lot. And when you can be convenient, and it's a convenience store, like, well, you charge, this is more, it's cheaper at Hy-Vee. I said, it's a long walk to Hy-Vee, ain't it?
Well, and you can't buy in bulk like that.
Yeah, it's only one green store. There's a whole lot of Hy-Vees, right? So they get their deals and that. But what I can do is, what you need now, come get it. Yeah. And then when you get a ride up to Hy-Vee or Walmart or whatever, go to Walmart. I'm not telling you to just shop here with me. I'm trying to help you out so when you can't or you don't run out of diapers and you need to come get some diapers real quick. I don't sell the big thing, $40 diapers. I broke it down in $5 packs so you can come spend $5 and you can. This is not what I'm trying to do is be helpful. Yeah. And that's when you get the bags, the wings or whatever. I'm trying to be helpful. I know I'm not a grocery store. Yeah. I'm just a neighborhood convenience store to try to help be convenient for the people that I know that need it. It's a what they call it, a food desert down there.
It is.
And they have to walk all the way up to 11th Street to get a soda pop. That's not right. And it's been here for a while. And now I just to be different than the previous owners, I want it to look good. I got a way of doing things, and I do things differently. So when they get the new siding and the new windows and they come through and the new fence around it, they're going to be like, whoa, green store doesn't change, but it's still the same energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, keep us posted. I'm
Yep.
going to follow you on. Do you mostly do TikTok?
I do both.
Okay.
Facebook.
I haven't really figured out TikTok yet.
TikTok caught me by surprise too. I haven't.
So how do people follow you?
I don't know. They just hit the follow button. I guess
But is it just your name, Demetrius Johnson, or
on TikTok?
Yeah.
I think it's Demetrius Johnson 72. I know that it's that on Instagram. It's something like that. It's Demetrius something though. I don't know.
Okay. I'll find it and link it. But you're basically going to be telling the stories of people who live in Century Woods and
Right.
just kind of.
I'm gonna try to catch them off guard sometime. I had them jokingly, to say something good about the store and that, all that. But I want to get a chance. There's some people that I want the world to meet.
Yeah.
And let them tell their story. And sometimes we just probably just sitting out there having a conversation.
That's
if I got a
awesome.
slow day and I have somebody sitting there, we're talking, I'll put it on camera, let the people see.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to following it. And thank you so much for coming and talking to me today. It was a real treat. And I'm sure I'll see you around the neighborhood.
This is my first ever interview podcast thing like this. So
Okay.
I hope I did okay.
I think you did great.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. We'll be seeing each other at Century Woods.
Definitely will.
So,
Definitely
okay.
will. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you. A huge thank you to Demetrius for coming here today and for letting me talk to him about all the things, Rock Island and life and meaning and purpose. I really enjoyed getting to know him. I'm going to put a link in the bio of how to follow Demetrius on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, where he will be continuing to highlight the stories of the people who live at Century Woods in Rock Island. If you like what I'm doing here, hop over to www.rockislandline.com to read articles, find out about events, and just get connected to other stuff that might be going on with this endeavor. You can like the podcast, or better yet, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and leave a positive review. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave a review there as well. Thank you so much for caring about Rock Island, for being engaged, and for loving our city. I'll see you next time on the Rock Island Line.